it's Alice, and I'm hosting a very special episode where I get to walk through the game which is known to be called wHOLES. It was a hobby project of mine which I developed for the iOS and Android devices, and it was released back in 2017, or rather it's like the 1st of April, so now it's like 6 years. Basically how this works is you get to play as Wah. On here you get to like direct the cat across different squares, and it involves using 2 thumbs. One thumb allows you to go north and south, as the other thumb goes for like east and west. So that way it just allows for you to use both sides of your mind to solve puzzles. This really makes it for the more interesting gameplay. It was released on the mobile devices, but then after the year, I then removed it because I just couldn't get the payments sorted out or other kinds of regulations I had to get around with. So now you won't be able to play this on like mobile devices. I still thought it would be nice to upload this as part of a tradition of April the 1st, because that's when I developed the game and got it working there. I still remember where I had to travel up country somewhere around London, and I was in the hotel. I had to like borrow Wi-Fi and then had to go on my MacBook to like authorize this game and get it ready for a release. But when I did that, it was a huge joy to see my game published on both app stores for the first time. Marketing it is a bit of a nightmare. Well, it's simple enough because I was marketing it on like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and it was based on what one of my family members have suggested. But even if it got a lot of impressions, I even paid for the advertising, it didn't like create another exposure for people to check it out, and there wasn't a lot of people playing it, so unfortunately it didn't gain any momentum to get through it. However, about a few months later, especially after the game was pulled from the app stores, I then show it to my friends and they thought it's fun. It also looks clean with the play interface and all those really nice themes. If you don't really market this game enough, then it doesn't go anywhere. But I think it's something that still baffles me to this day to see that I have placed so much effort into promotion of this game that no one else seems to like really care or didn't take much notice of it. But I think it's just the trouble is that maybe the game was done after 6 months and it was given a more of a simple premise, but I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's just one of those things that I'm willing to improve on if I were to do another game. It all started when I had to development of a video games in order to increase my portfolio to get into like different opportunities. It was also a means to use all my art and programming skills to create games. So I just opened up Unity, came up with concepts, and then decided to make this game where the unique selling point is that you have to go around squares, fill them up, and it will block out the background with some relaxing sounds of the sea. So what it then led came to this game where it just basically is a puzzle where you fill all the squares and make sure that you just don't get trapped or get out of it. One of the cool things about this game is that I took photographs of certain landscapes around different places. The first bunch of levels are based on the seaside, and I took like waves and beaches, and you just put them against a tinted background and gives you this calming sounds as you like fill up the tiles. I think it just really makes it like more pleasurable and less stylish. More levels, like it's based on the woodlands and there's an industrial zone. I even came up with more themes for different levels, and it even comes with different themes for levels that leads to combinations. And one of the premium features I was going to throw in is that you can change the avatar from Wild the Cat to other icons, which kind of leads to some like monetization appeal. But none of these have ever happened, so it's a bit of a shame. But I still really had a fun time doing the color schemes, the photos, and I think it's just what really gives a kind of a fresh identity to this whole game. I just feel, yeah, it's pretty cool. The game didn't flow off the ground, and I had plans to put on updates. You've been seeing the orange line, and it was meant to be a feature where after you failed at a level so many times, it gives you indicators of where you can like go around a level and solve the puzzle. That's one of the ways to help people to complete the level as recommended by people who played the game. As you can see here, I introduced this mechanic where you have to go on safety tiles which doesn't fill up the square, so it just allows them more strategies. Also included like more special tiles, like those tiles you step on and it fills more tiles, as well as like tiles where you have to visit twice in order to clear them, as well as the jump pads. And I think it just comes with so many other things that you can find across like 120 levels that were originally bundled with the whole game. When I released the game and I was working on an update, I received a lot of pressure to like look for the job and was told that the game wasn't really making enough. I ended up going to agencies and I ended up working at McDonald's. All that games development on it just like somehow like paused. And now the people are saying like, you should work on wHOLES in free time and get this done. But I was so stressed and being so busy at McDonald's that I ended up pausing this game development altogether. So unfortunately, it all stopped and it was completely shelved. I was working on a game to get the PC demo done for the itch.io, but unfortunately that I just couldn't even like get this game started there. Like I did like choose the levels in which I can get only like a few levels there, but unfortunately it didn't work out in the end. So I was like so burnt on that easily, and I felt so demotivated to do it that I decided not to go for it. It was like I went through like a few games projects. I had bad experiences with working on certain games and it didn't get on with my teams. So I just ended up like getting less and less interested in games development. Especially I heard that about 92% of games didn't really make it in the end. So I then decided to give up on games development. Also did like drafts of my book as well as like doing podcasts and YouTube. And these are the avenues that are much better than games development in my honest opinion. I was kind of hoping that like we could like get this over to like Xbox or Nintendo Switch, since Unity can export to those platforms. I mean, I could get this on the Xbox with the right kind of tools, and I can like get this working with a Xbox controller and complete puzzles. I mean, if it ever comes on the Xbox Game Store, then I will make sure that a lot of the achievements are like both challenging and easy to get them all. And it's one of those things that makes me really excited for it. It's just unfortunately that I haven't had any opportunities to work with different people in order to get this through. I also have more interesting ideas that combine this format with other genres like a roguelike exploration and other bits like that. But that again hasn't been explored further because I wasn't really that interested in continuing development of wHOLES, and I don't have enough encouragement and support to even get this game over to itch.io. So it's a bit of a shame. But then if you're interested to help me to get through this game, then let me know in the comments and we can like discuss of some sort. But I don't know. The game contains like 120 levels and it does come across like 3 environments, and it each comes with a different theme. There's even a dark mode for any of them, so it's just like promising as if it comes with like more aesthetics, but I didn't get around to those either, so unfortunately it just didn't happen. Whenever I complete some of the levels, it often comes up with this narrative and tells like how it just happened or things like that. It comes with a narrative line of what happens or gives riddles of what the game is all about, and it's something you can like play the game and get to explore this enigmatic themes. It's just really interesting. Now, I like to like wrap up this 10 minutes of gameplay to say that games development is really difficult. It's a really interesting idea, and I thought it was like really good. But unfortunately, that I just couldn't get this game done to what I hoped to do, and there was a lot of pressures in which like it's not something you can get rich quick by it unless you come up with a very good concept. Because many of the games these days is that it's more business oriented, it relies on like more profits, and it's just for this reason that you have to work on the concepts to make sure they completely sell. And that is a quite heartbreaking thing, because back in the 80s you can get popular for any game you build on like the Commodore or the Spectrum, and it's just one of those games that would have did well if it came out on the Commodore 64, for instance. So it's just a shame. But at least it was a venture explored, and well, let's just say it gets my game out there, and people are liking it. It's just unfortunate that it hasn't gained enough recognition in order to be recognized as a certain game. So it's a shame. But I still remember to this day that if I ever get famous with any YouTube videos, people will be interested in it. And if it gets a popular game, then it'll be great. But I do have other game ideas that expands on this format and lead to more gameplay opportunities. I don't know, it's just something really interesting. Anyway, so that's the gameplay of this game. I am now going to present you what the game would have looked like if you went further into the game. So this right here is an example of the double tile, where you go around the 8-figure sign, and a few more levels where you get to solve puzzles and get through them. Oh, ignore this glitch because it's only a development build of a PC version, but at least it shows what you can do with the double tiles, so I think it's just quite interesting. Also, I've got this background based on one of the lovely landscapes, and I thought, yeah, it's quite cool. So I just pictured a bunch of tree trunks and make it look nice behind the tanks. And this is another one where it's hosted over some kind of special industrial site, and it involves a jump pad. And I thought, yeah, that's cool. I think there's another one, and it involves using the jump pads to get through this level. And I thought, yeah, it's quite clever, and it gets more complicated too. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you with this level, which has the pads where they just pushes you into a specific direction. So yeah, so I'm gonna leave you with that. And thanks for watching this video and hearing me out on those kind of things. So be sure to like and subscribe, and also follow us for more podcasts and updates. So until then, see you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at X Marks Box on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube. And follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.